Hi everyone, Emma here. I have a lovely bracelet I want to show you how to make. So I have been doing a bunch of bracelets practicing herringbone stitch, and I thought it was time to show you what I've done. So we're going to start with this one. I picked this one to show you first because it is so simple and so fast to do. So let's take a look and we'll get up close. So I haven't attached the clasp yet because we're going to do that together. So I am just going to pull these apart here and bring you in close and show you what I have. So this, if you flip it and look at this side, this is the herringbone that we're going to do. Let me just get the camera set. So this is the herringbone. So this is basically what you would call a two-stitch herringbone. Now, you're probably, if you're new to herringbone, you're looking going, why is there 4 beads across plus 2 15s? So one stitch of herringbone is considered 2 beads to create that one stitch, the line that goes up like that. And then the edge, when you bring your thread around to start again, your thread is exposed on the one side. You do have the choice of what to put there. You can put, I just put a single 15-0 bead, but you can put 3 15-0 beads there, and I've done that. It looks amazing. You can put any other type of bead, like a round crystal or whatever you want that kind of suits whatever you're doing. But for this design, we're just going to do the one. And initially, I just wanted to say, when I saw them like on videos doing just the single 15-0, I was always worried that the thread would be showing. You really have to look up close to see the thread. And I actually like the way the single 15-0 looks and sits on an angle. So I've left it like that. Now I used white on this because I ran out of green thread. If you used green thread on this, you would not see it at all. It so blends in with the gold. There's some like greeny colors in there that are reflections of other stuff that you would just, the thread would disappear. Now for today, I do let's just quickly talk about the thread. I normally use the dragon thread, and I use I guess they call it size 6, but it's 0.006 of an inch, and that is the equivalent in the millimeters. So that's what I usually use. It's super tiny and flexible and goes through 15s multiple times, very easy. You can use a bigger thread or bigger needle, that kind of thing. But again, when it came to the green, I guess that size in green is very popular because I went to order some more and they were all out. So I ended up with the next size up. So if you take a look, so I think there's a size down, there's a 0.005, and then the next size up. And they actually are putting size 8, or calling them size 8. I do believe this is 0.008. So this one here, and this is the green, is quite a bit thicker. This reminds me of I feel is comparable to a Fireline 6-pound. It's really thick. So just be aware of that. This, this was my go-to, this size here in Fireline, and I used to run into problems all the time for multiple passes through, say, a 15-0 bead. And then when I got this stuff, I got so used to using the thin thread that it didn't bother me anymore. Initially, I didn't trust it. I felt it was not strong enough, but I haven't had any problems. So I would swear by the thinner thread. But of course, it's popular. So that's just my spiel on the thread. So I'm using the size 8 green for this. So we'll see how we do. But of course I did this ahead of time. This was done with the white. And the other thing I wanted to point out is once you have this part of your bracelet done, you can embellish it any way you want, or you could leave it like this. It looks amazing just like this, without anything on it. So yeah, get creative on how to do it. So I decided I had got these lovely crystals from Raven's Journey, and I was obsessed wanting to use them. And as soon as I finished this, I was like, oh, I know exactly what I'm putting on. So that's what I did. And what I did was I went through, so initially I went through these 15 O's to attach. And the idea was I had seen some design where they actually folded the herringbone over to kind of snuggle the bead. But I found that these, I'm using 8OC beads, they're a bit thick. So once you folded this over, so it folds really nicely, but then it's harder to bend it to go around your wrist. So, and that might be my tension. So anyway, I went through the 11 O's or the 15 O's to add that, and I just added another 15 O and a 8 O, the crystal, and did the same on this side. And I went from, now with herringbone, these 15 O's are going to be in the alternate set of beads, so you're always going to skip one, and that's just the way you thread herringbone. So what I did is I went from one to the other, so it's not actually straight across, but you really don't notice it in the bracelet. So that's a lot of talk for this. Let's start doing it and get it back to the simple design that I was suggesting. So let's get our thread. So I have one that's ready to be strung, but in the meantime what I'll do is we'll do a short one here to show you how to do this. And so normally you would take at least a wingspan of thread. You will probably need 3 to 4 lengths of that to complete a bracelet your size. So I should say this here is for my size wrist, which is 6 3/4, so it's under 7 inches, and it's not complete, but we're going to add the clasp here, so that will be fine for me. So for you, you will probably go through 5 to 6 wingspans of thread. So, and I'm going to try a size 12. Hopefully this thread will go through a size 12. I was using a size 10 needle, but I found going through the 15 O's was becoming more and more difficult. So I'm just going to use my nail to flatten the thread a bit to help it go through the needle. It's just a bit rounded, so it's not sticking out there. There we go. Actually, that's not too bad. And pull it down. I didn't add much there. I didn't want to add a whole bunch of thread so that you'd be watching me string thread instead of beads. We'll see how that works. So here's the thing with herringbone too, you can use different size beads. We're going to use the 8/0 for the main part of the bead, which will make things a lot faster and a lot easier. But you can do something like this, where I used all 11/0 delicas and did multiple rows. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 rows instead of 2. And look at this, just lovely, delicate bracelet. So let's put some beads out. So I'll put some 8/0s. And then your 15/0s. And again, like these are not exactly matchy, but you know what? Once you put them together, you don't see any difference. I actually just figured that out after years of doing this. So we're gonna start, and we start with actually a brick stitch. And don't get stressed, it's not a whole other stitch. It's just to get it started, and it's super simple. So you're gonna put 4 beads, 8/0 beads on your strand, and you're gonna bring it down. And you're going to leave a tail. Now, what I did was I left a tail long enough to string a clasp on. So you could do that, or you could leave just enough to stitch back in and then use a separate piece of thread for your clasp. So now you're going to take this and you're going to go down through the bottom too. So let me do it this way. It might be easier. I have my light and my camera in the way. There's like a little crack. I can see what I'm doing. So I apologize for the hesitation. This is a lot easier than it's looking like right now. So I'll just pull that all the way through so that they sit side by side like that. Now you're going to go down through these again. Now you're going to pick up 2. So this would be 1 stitch, considered 1 stitch. Then you're going to pick up 2 more. You're coming out of this side, you're going to go into this side and through both beads like that. And you're going to pull them down, and they're going to sit right next to the other 2. I tail out of the way. Then you're going to come up through the bottom of the ones you just added. And let me make sure the background is clear. So like that. So now you have 1, 2, 3 rows, but you want sets of 2. So you're going to pick up 2 more. You're going to go through the one beside it so that it'll attach those 2. And then you're going to go down. And actually, yeah, I'm going to go down. So there's a bunch of different, I've seen a bunch of different ways to do this section here to start your herringbone. It's just preference. So I could have just gone down through the 1 bead and then start my herringbone here, so that my thread would have come out between these 2 beads. But I think what we might do is go back and come out this side. But I don't really think it would have mattered. This just reinforces the bottom. So go up those 2, down these 2. And you'll see what I mean when we come back up. So now we're going to go just up 1 here, because now we're going to start our herringbone. So I'm just going to flip it so it makes it easier for you to see. So now this is the thread that's coming out. You want to use your 15/0s to somewhat conceal the thread. And then you're going to go through this bead here. Yeah, I think I'm doing this first piece wrong, but yeah, so that bead shouldn't sit there. The thread should come out over top, but I'll show you in the next one it will sit properly. So you're going to pick up 2. This is now starting your herringbone. So you pick up 2. You're coming out of this one. You're going to go through this one. And it's tight because we added the extra thread. that out there. And those will sit nicely like that. Put down. Now you're going to cross over to the next one here. And just to let you know, there is a bunch of videos out there on how to do this. So if this isn't doing it for you, definitely go take a look. There's Jill Wiseman has some really good ones, and she gets right to the point, so you don't have to listen to a bunch of stuff. So then you're going to pick up 2, and you're coming out of this bead, you're going to go into that bead. And just that bead, so that you see how your thread is going to come out on that side, and just set those down. So flip your work. So now your thread is coming out of here, and you're going to pick up your 15-0 to conceal your thread. Then you're going to go up through here. So that is what it should look like. You see how this one's tucked in there? That shouldn't be. But when we go back down, we can always get it tucked out, but it doesn't really matter. So now we're going to add 2 8/0s. So now that you're past this, I may have called it ladder stitch. I think it's called brick stitch. You see how these 2 are popped up a bit? You can actually go through both of those. So you go down this one and up through that one. Now, some people don't like doing that because if your tension is not like really strong, those beads will continue to stick up in a V shape instead of sitting flat against the beads below it. But I haven't found it to be a problem. So I find it so much faster to get your needle through everything. So let's go to the next one. Pick up 2 8/0s. You're coming out of this bead, you're going to go through this bead. Like that. And you see how they're all kind of wonky? Just coax them into the right position. I just do that with my nail and pull the thread. I do find when you go back through, they will sit straight, but sometimes there's extra thread there, so that's why I kind of get it into place and pull it tight. So we're going to flip that because now we're going to add our 15/0. So pick up a 15/0. You're coming out of this bottom one here. You're going to go into the one above it like that. So we'll do a few more like this. Hopefully this makes sense to you. Let me know if it's not, if it seems too confusing or if you want clarification. I only know if people tell me. If people don't tell me, then I have no clue that maybe it's confusing the way I'm explaining it. So pick up 2, you're coming out of this bead, you're going to go through this one. And I'm just going to turn my work as well at the same time, and that way I can pull, get that in there, pick up my 15/0, go up through this bead, pick up 2 8/0s. And you can do this with different type of beads as well. So like I said, I did it with the delicate. It looks amazing. So you're coming out of here, you're going to go in through here and up like that. More time. Pick up 2. We're coming out of this bead here. We're going to go through this one. I'm going to flip my work. It's just my process. It makes it easier for me to hang on to things and get the needle in like that. There. Pick up the 15/0, go through this bead here like that. And you can see now it's taking me a little bit of time to get this far because I'm explaining, but once you start doing it and you have the steps down, it goes really fast. I think I did another example that I'm going to show you that okay, this one, I think this is because the thread is so thick. The example that's like exactly like the finished one I showed you, it took me maybe 30 minutes to do it. So that's pretty crazy. So we're coming out of here. We're going to go through this one. Just going to flip that, and you can see that just sat in the right spot. Pick up a 15-0 like that, and there we go. So just continue this until that you have the length that you want, and then to end it, you can finish with this brick stitch at the end if you want. I actually didn't bother because I'm adding the embellishment and a clasp, so I just made sure that I had 15 O's every other bead, and that's, you don't have to do that either. But I like having the consistency, and then I could bring my crystals all the way to the end. But you can leave your crystals to one length as well. So I'm gonna steal this needle, and so I have one that's ready to go like that. So I'm just gonna, so I have an end here for my clasp on this side. You can see how the 50 knows on this side but not on the other, and actually I think this is the thread for that. So if you want, and we'll probably do that when we get ready to finish this side, is just weave through. You can create a knot if you want. I don't know, I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but so this one has 2 threads, and I apologize. This one is supposed to be for the clasp, but you know what? It's so short, I don't know that the clasp will make it to this one. But the second one is long, and I added that one because we are going to add the crystals. So I am going to switch needles because definitely the size 10 needle will sometimes go through the 15s. Not all the time. Am I going the wrong way? I am. So let's take that one off. That there. And let's get this a little bit flat. Put on our 15, 12 needle. There. Okay. So hopefully we can keep this out of the way. So what I did here is I positioned my thread so that it's ready to attach my crystal. And I don't know. I guess I'm gonna put, yeah, I'm gonna put it through the, so I'm in a position now to go through my, so I'm coming out of this bead here. Doesn't really matter which way you go through your 15-0. Just remember that you have to go one way through the bracelet. So we're going to add crystals and we're going to crisscross. So let's get the crystals out. I did, for my size wrist, I needed I did 13 on the bracelet that I showed you, this one here. But I'm going to do 12 on this one, and then we'll see. Just because they come in strands of 25, so I'll have to break open a new strand. So go through your 15-0. So you can see it was a bit snug there going through. There. Pick up a 15-0, an 8-0, a crystal, an 8-0, and then another 15-0. There's 2 there. So that's what you have. Bring that down. So you see, even with the size 12, these are, I just ordered these beads and I'm finding I'm getting a lot of, not a lot, but enough to notice of clogged holes. So you're going to take this and you're going to attach it to this seed bead. So you can go through twice, and let me check if I went through twice on mine. Yeah, it looks like I went through twice, but I had a thinner thread. I don't think we need to go through twice. So let's flip this, it's a little easier. So you're going to go to the next one. I think what I did was I went through twice just so that I could get my thread back onto the other side to get ready for the other attachment. So you can do that, or you can go through these two beads and come out through this one. So let's go around the first 15, or sorry, go through everything again. See if that works. Just might be the thread that's too thick on those 15s. See, yeah, it's not liking that. Let's go through those. Yeah, the thread's not going to go through. Huh. Okay, let's try going down to the next set of beads. So go down through these two. You can always count on me for problem solving. It's because I don't do stuff ahead of time and show you, because otherwise I'd never get anything done. I have so many ideas. So go through. I'm going to go around this side just because the thread path is doing that. So let's see if we can get through here. There. That's working. And you don't have to make it tight. Okay, so now let's pick up 15, 80, crystal, 80. And you can change the configuration of the beads on this too. You could use 11-Os. I use the 8-Os next to the crystal just because the crystal has a bit of a bigger hole and a flat side to it. So I was trying to make it kind of gradual. So slide those down. And so now we can go through this one. And you could actually go through the two beads. Ready? It doesn't want to. We'll just go through the 180 after the 15-0. And this one actually looks closer together than this one here. Oh, because I skipped one on the other. I skipped every other on this one. You know what? I think we're going to do it every one on this one and see how it turns out. So we will need an extra strand, but that's fine. So I'm going to go through this 80. Don't you hate when you do that? You go to pull your thread through and the whole thing goes flying. It's even worse when you're trying to do a video. You're trying to make it so it's very clear, and I don't do any editing, so you're going to see that. So now go through your 15-0, if it'll let you. Where's my pliers? Okay, pick up a 15-0. an 8/0, a crystal, another 8/0, and a 15/0, like that. You are coming out of this one, so you're going to go through this one, and I'm going to go down this way. Follow the bead path. Oh yeah, this is looking amazing. So this is cool. I run into happy accidents all the time when I'm doing stuff, because I would have, I think I was trying to conserve beads, being the bead hoarder that I am. So now we want to get to this 15/0, so we're going to go through these two 8/0s. Like that. There. Beautiful. This is looking amazing. It feels really cool too. The crystal spin. Okay, so now we need to go through our 15/0. Pick up a 15, an 8, a crystal, an 8, and a 15. Like that. We're coming through this one. We're going to go through this one. Go through the 15, and I'm trying to go through these two 8s. There we go. I knew there's a way to do it. Like that. Pull that through, and everything's hooking on this thread. I put a long enough thread to finish it. I apologize, I should have. And you'll get where it's sitting on the back end, so just pull it down to the front and finish pulling your thread. I find this thread, this stronger thread, is more rigid, so it wants to stay in shape and not flop like the others. Okay, so 15, 8/0, a crystal, an 8/0, and a 15. Oh, you know what? We have to go through our 15 first. I was all excited. I have some news to tell you guys. So I'm like, okay, get to this point and then you can tell them, so I keep jumping steps here. It's kind of, I found since the cancer diagnosis that the type of information that I find interesting or excited about is not really. Look what I did. I put a 8/0 on the end, but you're not going to notice it once it's on. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy. I'll just go through that one. Again, try and keep my thread to the front. Get that guy out of the way. This design, they do hook on each other all the time. So this one's not sitting the way I want it. I'm going to go from the bottom in to make that sit the way I want it. I'll do it this way. Try to keep it a little consistent there. That's better. And again, you're not going to notice that. You really have to be paying attention. So let's go through these beads, maybe from the back, be easier. So I had, if you've been following my channel, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had a lumpectomy, and I'm just waiting for an appointment to see the radiation oncologist, and then I'll have radiation. So in the meantime, I have a strong family history of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and colon cancer, which are linked to the same defective gene. So I was referred for genetic testing. So I had my appointment today, and so we went through everything, and at the end, um, it was up to me to make the choice, which I was so glad, because I was worried, you know, before you get to this point in, say you're seeing your family doctor, they don't necessarily offer you like more and more treatment. They'll say, well, let's wait and see, or let's that kind of thing. So you're constantly, in my opinion, and how it's happened with me, is constantly having to like speak up for yourself and request certain things and make an argument for it and that kind of thing. So so it was really nice. By the time we got through all the information, she said, it's up to you to make a decision. This is your I'm finding they're actually getting super close together, and the bead is right there. So I almost want to skip one, but then it might show quite a gap here and change the orientation. So I might just continue the way we have it. So yeah, at the end she said, this is, from what information you've given me and the information I have, you do qualify for genetic testing, and it's up to you whether you want to continue or not. So she gave me the requisition for so that I can get some blood drawn to be tested. And we talked about like the test takes 4 weeks to process, and that's with urgent. She wrote urgent on it because if I test positive, I may opt to do a double mastectomy over radiation, and that's just because radiation could cause some scarring and then make it more difficult for the healing of the mastectomy. So with that coming up, now that you can see this is actually curling already, but that's because I have it so close together. This one here seems to be popping out, but you know what? If I like when I get this done, I'm gonna go back through that and pull it in even further so that you won't see that. But I mean, it's just a little, at a glance, you can't really see it. So she said, yeah, a month to get the results. And then, so I have my appointment in 2 weeks with the radiation oncologist. So I asked about that. I said, what is the process for me if this does, just for example, if I do test positive for the BRCA gene and I'm considering doing the mastectomy, what's the process? Do I contact the surgeon? Do I, how do I get like kind of step backwards in the process? And she said, oh, we send a referral letter for you to suggest, or just saying what the results are, and then you can contact them and stuff like that. But she said, I have no problem calling them for you. So that was really nice to know. So in the meantime, she did suggest if things come up before the results where I'm going to be getting radiation, and the radiation treatment is backed up till September. So I might be able to just buy myself some time with that alone, so that I have time to decide. But she mentioned about discussing it with the radiation therapist, so I could do that too. So yeah, I have some, oh, I did that again. I forgot to go through my 15. Let's do it this way. You know what? I could go down this way. It probably wouldn't matter. Let's try that. I was just going up in the direction of that thread there. But yeah, it doesn't really. I mean, you see the thread crossing over, but you're not going to see it once this is on. So coming out of there, we're going to go through there. Like that. So you see how fast it is to string this. I'm like just under halfway with all my chit-chatting. So if you want this to lay flat, it's not going to lay flat. So your crystals are really bunched together. But once it turns, so that's, let me see if that's this one seems to be, it might be just that 8-0 right there is knocking, just taking up enough space to knock this over. But there, fixed. That was easy. So you could do it this way, or you could do it this way. And really, from a glance, you can't tell the difference. There you go. So let's put a clasp on this. Let's grab our needle again. So hopefully this is helpful to you and not too confusing. I apologize if it is. I always try to make it a little simpler, but I'm starting to work on designs that are more complex. Oh, I thought I had put some thread in this one, but you know what it was? I left the thread in the other. Okay, well we'll just deal with it. So let's do this one here, which is on this side. I also added, to finish it off, I added 2 15s on the ends. You can really see that looks really pretty and finished off on that side. This one, because it was the brick stitch, I think they didn't sit in enough, but still looks great. So I am going to use these clasps I just unboxed yesterday, and they look a bit wide for that, but once you do this, it looks great. I think that's the perfect one. And what I did was I attached a extender chain to that. So these come just like that. There's no jump ring or anything on it. So I added a jump ring and then an extender chain on the one side. And these are gold plated from Beadaholique from their closeout sale. And then this side I did, so again it just comes like that. So then I added a couple of jump rings together to make a bit of a chain, and then the lobster claw. And the reason why I added a bit here is I find it's always hard to grab hold of your lobster clasp. And I'm just going to get this kind of working a bit. There. So you might want to add more, but just remember anything you add adds to your bracelet. So just do that. So let's get this on the thread. Yeah, this is pretty small, this piece. I'm not going to use that short one. I'll weave that back in. So let's thread this. So you can see the difference in size of these threads. Quite a bit of difference. It's hard to see on the camera though. So it's interesting. My wife went to, so she came with me and she went to lay down. Let me flip this a little bit. After, because it was an early appointment, and we joke all the time that so the thread is down here. I'm going to move it up So I'm going to cross over one and then go up two, if I can get through two yet. With retirement, we don't book any appointments till afternoon. Like, why would you bother getting up if you don't have to? Okay, so I want to weave this on. There's 3 holes. So I want to actually weave it so that you hide the holes. And to do that, I'm going to weave through this hole and then come up through this one and attach the bracelet that way. And then I'll do the same for the other 2. So we're kind of in the middle here. So we're going to go down the first hole on one side and then go up the second hole like that and place it on top. And now you're just going to look for a spot on the bracelet where you want it to go through. So here's my thread. So I think I might go through the 2 middle rows. Let me enlarge this and see if I can get that better in focus. Eek, that's really not that great. Let's see if I can adjust this better. We'll see if we can see with this. So we're coming up here, so I think I'm going to go through these sets. So I'm going to go from the top through 2 beads and come out that second bead. And it might be easier to hold it in my hand. Get rid of that one there. So now we're going to cross over to the next. We're going to cross over to the next bead here. So we're coming out of these 2. That's what we went through. We're going to go up through these guys like that. And we're going to go underneath because we're going to repeat this a few times to get it in there. Actually, I'm gonna do it from the front. I'll tell you why. Because we want this to sit on top. And all that does is it hides those loops. You can attach this with seed beads onto the loops. So much easier. Less threading. But I just like this look a lot better. So I went through that loop again. I'm gonna pull everything tight. Tight-ish, because if you see it's all kind of slanted on the one side, I want it to sit about here. So we'll do one here and then we'll do one on the other side so that it's not going to be all to one side. Just make sure it's not tangled on anything. So go down these 2 middle ones here like we did the last one, but we're going to come up the side one. So cross over from these to this one here. So I'm going to go through that one and through the next 8-0. Like that. And then down through this final hole. Of course, I knew this was going to get in the way here. Get this one out of the way. There. So let's move this to the middle. So now I'm going to go, I've gone through that hole on this side. I'm going to come up through the middle. that. And I'm going to go down this hole. There, that's kind of, pull this a bit, cinch that up. So now go back through those beads and down through that hole. It still looks a bit loose there, but we're going to fix that. It's just because I'm trying to get them even on both sides. Through there. You can see the white thread, it would work better with the green. Pull that through. See if we can kind of get that over there. Stuck. Okay, go down. Okay, so it's not like sitting as well as I'd like it to. You see how loose it is? So now what I'm going to do is, now that I'm through this loop, I'm actually going to go down one more bead. So I had gone down 2. I'm going to go down. Let me see if 3 will do it. Actually, 2 should be enough. So let me see. And then just trying to get it through those 2 beads. There. That's actually stabilizing it really nice, like that. Perfect. Okay, so now we came through the top. Let's go across here. Down those 2. I don't know if there's any space left in there. Yep. Down these 2 here. There. Now I'm going to go up here. That through. That. And then I'm going to go down these 2 beads. Like that. And you could go in there and add another 15-0 there just to make it consistent. So let's go through this one and this one. Oh, I'll have to go through it separately. Go through and through that one like that. So now there's still a bit of give. That's amazing. Okay, let's get it in here through this one. Whirl, tangle through the crystals. There. There. Okay. Let's get that nice and tight. There. That's not moving. It's very little. We can go back and do that one. Let's go ahead and do that actually. I am going to add another seed bead too, so let me see if I can do this here. Go down 1, like that. And let's go up this one. We're going to add a seed bead here. A 15-0. I'm calling it a seed bead. They're all seed beads. The 15-0. We're coming out of here. We're going to go in here. And I think I'm going to go through the back. I'm just starting to see a lot of threads here that I don't particularly care for. And I'm going to go down 3. it's easier. And flip that guy over. There. And I'm going to bring my thread to the back. Flip it. So I'm down 3. I don't need to be that far down. I'm going to cross over to this one here. And then we can cross through this one. So we come through this one, and I'm just going to get this in tight. And let me just go through that one for now. There. Okay. There, that's not moving now. So I'm going to go around to the back and tie this off. And that is that. So you just basically do the same for the other side. But you know what? I think I might show you just the basic threading of one of these with a bead, because this starts to look like a lot of work. So I'm just going to go down a few beads like that and grab a thread that's in between those. And I did notice for the thicker thread that to do your knots, I usually do a double knot. I wouldn't recommend that. The thread is thick enough that the knots get super big and in the way of your, if you have to pass your thread through. So just FYI on that one. So then we'll just take this tail through a few in my finger. And that's that one. So that's not too bad. I've done better, but can't be perfect all the time. So let's take a look at this one. So I'm wondering if we put a bead in between the two, and this is not enough thread, so let's keep it with this one. This one is going to be, for me, that's prototype, I guess. So with I keep all the mistakes. Not that there's any mistakes in it, it's just it's a little rough around the edges. I like it a little more polished than that, but that's the way it goes sometimes. So let me attach this. So I'm sure there's techniques on how to change your thread in Herringbone. I am just going to show you what I do. So I'm going to go up one side, and I'm going to leave a bit of a tail so that I have something that doesn't come right out. Then I'm going to go across, and I'm going to go down a few. And that thread will hide between the beads. You can pull that little tail out if you want, so that it's hidden by the beads there. Then you're going to go up a few on this side. And then I'm going to put a knot here and ready to go. So just grab a hold of the thread that's there, like that. And like I said, I put 2 knots when I'm using this smaller thread. It's not necessary with the thicker. I mean, it's not necessary with this either, but that's my process. So then take your needle and go get yourself up to the top. If you can get through them all, if not, do it one step at a time. See where we're at here. And then your knot will pop into the bead. It's gone. So let's go through here. I'm going to go through the 8/0 and the 15 because I think if we look at that, it looks like it's sitting in between two loops. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is trying to decide if I should add an 15/0 or a 8/0 in this spot. Let's take a look. I think the 8/0s are really big. Yeah, let's do 15s. See if we can manage that. So let's see what this looks like. I think I am going to attach to the outside ones this way. And what I'm going to do is add a few of the seed beads, the 15/0s. I don't know why I have this thing in my head that 15s are seed beads because they're so tiny. So I've got 3. Let's try 4. And go through here. Oh, they won't fit through that hole, so I'm going to even it out. I'm going to put 2 and 2 on each side of the hole of this loop. And then add 2. Then go through the 15/0. Put that over like that. Now I'm going to, since I'm through that 15/0, I could go back around. I think what I'm going to do is go through these 2 8/0s just to make it more secure. So let's go through this one and then cross over to the outer 8/0. That tight. Then go through that initial 15/0 and then up through these guys. So the ones we added on, go through the loop, then come down these guys. And then go through that common 15/0. So that's twice on that. I think that's good. You could do 3 times. Now I'm going to go to the other side. So I'm going to go through this 8/0, through the next 8/0, and I'm going to go through the 15. So I'll do it all at once here. The needle has a better idea. Okay, we're going to go through it separately. And did I cross it over? Nope. Okay, go through this 15/0. Add 2 15/0s. Then go through the outer loop. That. Pick up 2 15/0s and come back through your, I'm going to actually come on the other side. so that I can go through that 8/0 like that. That's what that looks like. And you can always come back through the middle and add 2 8/0s there too. So let's just go through this again. So go around, go through everything again. Go through 2. I went through the chain. Okay. Flip that, go through these 2. And I'm going to go through this 8/0 because I am going to add the seed beads. They're not really structural. I mean, I guess they are in a sense that they're attached, but let's add, I think I'm going to add 3 just to keep it consistent. 3 on the one side and 2 on the other. See how that works out. There. I'm just going to go through the, I should go through one of the 8/0s. Let me try this one. I think this one's a little easier. Yeah. There. So that looks even. That's terrible, the camera. How grainy it is. Like, is my lighting off, or I wonder if my camera is getting dying on me. I use it a lot, so okay. So let's just go through this one more time, and we're done. So go through these 3 and come out the front. Look at that. I want to go through that one. We'll take it, and then I'll tighten once we get through here. There. So we'll take it through. And let's crisscross to the other. I'll go through. There. So there, let me just get rid of this thread here for a second. Let's tie this off. Oh, it went through the chain. Through the link. No, maybe it didn't. It's like, what's easier, getting my thread back out or taking it off the link? Okay. Whew. That was my bright idea. Oh no, it did go through. Look. It's right through the beads, the chain. Wow, that stinks. I've never had that. But I'm having a hard time seeing too. Maybe it's the lighting in here is just messed up. Just, oh. That's stinky for sure. Do I not have a hold of the right thread that it's holding like that? I probably don't have the right thread. I wonder if there's a knot in there. Okay, well, I'll fix that later off camera. You can see what that looks like. Let's compare it to the one that I did at the front. So you can see how difference of hiding those loops does. Now, normally I do a better job. I like to maybe go in and add some 15s in between each of those 15s, and that really conceals it. You don't see it. So that is this lovely bracelet. Let's take a look. I can't believe I sewed through the chain. Let me know if you guys have ever done something like that. It's like that joke that you're sewing something and you sew it to your clothes that you're wearing. There is this. I can't show you the whole chain because it's sewed in. I bring this out and there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm sorry it feels like I was just like all over the place, but I just wanted to give you an idea of something you can do with herringbone that's super quick and easy. I have a bunch of unboxings to do still, and then we're going to start doing some men's leather bracelets. I'm definitely going to throw some women's in there, and we'll do some more herringbone that's not as chaotic as this. So there you go. This is one of the ones that we could, this one's really simple. There you go. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.